Welcome to Part 3 of the 2024 celebration of model railways, held in the Dewars Centre, Perth. Moston, in P4 gauge. Exhibited by Barrowmore Model Railway Group, we are delighted to return to Perth with Moston, our P4 fine-scale recreation of the North Wales Coast Main Line in the Silver Jubilee year of 1977. BR Corporate Blue rules the rails and traffic is heavy, with regular passenger and freight traffic augmented by excursions taking holidaymakers to the delights of the North Wales coast resorts. Classes 24, 25, 40 and 47 dominate the locomotive action, whilst first-generation DMUs in varying formations will bring back happy memories for some. Moston first appeared at Perth in 2009, so what have we been doing for the last 15 years? A second fiddle yard which more than doubles the storage capacity has been built and commissioned. The exchange sidings and dock branch have been completed and now have prototypical traffic flows. Key architectural features such as Moston Hotel, Moston House, the old post office, the harbourmaster's house and ropery, and the buffer store have been researched and built. New control panels have been built, and more CCTV has been added to assist in the safe control of our formations through 34 storage roads and 100 turnouts. Our stock roster has more than doubled, from 355 items in 2009 to over 825 in 2024. There is still more to come, but you can see that all our storage roads are getting pretty congested. There is no doubt that we are nearing the capacity of our team to maintain and improve this huge project. Whilst the layout is kept in pristine condition, the same cannot be said of the operators, who are all greyer, dustier and more worn out than when we began. A couple of major contributors to Moston are, sadly, now in the great model railway layout in the sky, but their work lives on. We operate in accordance with the BR rulebook, and that means everything from the humble unfitted trip freight trundling along at 25 miles per hour right the way through, to principal expresses hammering along at line speed. Moston has the largest collection of exhibition quality P4 fine-scale stock in the UK, and as always, new items will be making their debuts here at Perth. Keeping this big fleet of over 800 vehicles running well requires close attention, and you can see us dealing with the latest casualties on our repairs and maintenance demonstration table. Mariana Mesa in ON30 gauge. Exhibited by Steve Benjamin from Thistle Model Makers. Marian is my wife's name, and a mesa is the name of a large flat-topped plateau in the high deserts of North America, particularly the Rockies. So, merging the two together, you get Mariana Mesa. Naming it after my wife gained me millions of brownie points. It is based in the high Rockies and represents a small town that has grown up with silver mining and logging. Railroads, automobiles and horse-drawn transport coexist. Vegetation is sparse and the sun bleaches the color out of most things. I'm interested in narrow-gauge railways and railroads and the different types of locos and rolling stock that these lines used. The geared locos, Shays, Heislers, Climax, were designed to traverse the roughly laid track and pull very heavy loads such as timber. The rod locomotives were used for longer distances and better quality track, pulling passenger cars as well as freight. Technically, this is an ON30 layout, O scale 7 mm per foot on OOHO track 16.5 mm. This scales to 30 inches, hence ON30. It is DCC controlled using a Raspberry Pi and Sprog 3 running JMRI, and uses the engine driver app on old mobile phones to control the locos. A mimic panel controls the switches. Fullerton in N gauge. Exhibited by Air Model Railway Group, Fullerton is an N-gauge layout based fictitiously in the west of Scotland and can operate in any era from steam through to fairly modern image. The layout was conceived originally by Kyle Model Railway Club and was gifted to us, now slightly modified. There is always something happening on the layout, and the operators are always happy to answer questions and honor requests, but please, not for singing. It is a most enjoyable layout to operate and view. Dragonby in N gauge. Exhibited by Jeff Butler, Dragonby is set in the East Midlands, Northeast area. At 16 feet by 4 feet, the layout is a perfect showcase for scale-length modern trains and liveries in N gauge that would be seen in the area. It has a 4-track main line and 2 freight lines, operated in the contemporary privatization era, featuring a constant procession of modern passenger and freight trains. These are presented by Class 60s, 67s, 68s, 70s, and a multitude of units, HSTs, Voyagers, Azuma and Pendolino. The rolling stock comprises mainly ready-to-run items from Farish, Bachmann, Dapol and Revolution trains, modified and weathered for a more realistic finish. There are also a number of 3D printed items. The working color light signals are by Roger Murray, now Absolute Aspects. All buildings are scratch-built. Dragonby has 4 scenic sections, and the layout and behind-the-scenes storage can accommodate up to 15 full-length trains. The storage yard consists of 10 parallel tracks, passenger lines, isolation every 1 foot, running under extensive control panels. The controllers are by Model X, uprated to 2 amps. Totnes Junction, in N-Gauge. Exhibited by Elgin Model Railway Club. Where is the layout located? The name Totnes Junction comes from the burn, the Tyke, that runs behind our club premises, so from that point of view it could be based in Scotland. However, the name also sounds like it could come from the West Country or possibly Wales. The visual aspects of the layout do not help either. At one end, the sea wall, with the line running through tunnels, smallish Dawlish, would tend to support the West Country, but the farm scene at the opposite end and the hills of the background could place it anywhere from the South Downs to Wales or Scotland. It's certainly not a city or an industrial conurbation. One advantage is that it means there is no restriction to running stock for a particular area. The layout has a double mainline track running from one big town to another big town. The station has a passing loop, also giving access to somewhere smaller, with the branch passing underneath the main line and heading down the valley, actually a small fiddle yard and run-round loop to allow trains to return. The station is well serviced by a 2-road steam shed and a 2-road diesel maintenance depot, and there are also 2 sets of goods yards for interchange operations and to service industries off-scene. Set in the transition period, loosely, it also gives us flexibility to run what we want to. Crter, in O-Gauge. Exhibited by Dale Brunskill. In 1870, the citizens of Crter and surrounding villages in Northumberland petitioned the North Eastern Railway to build a line to serve the fishing harbour at Crter and its expanding fishing fleet. At that time, the fishermen had to transport their fish to Little Mill Station along poorly maintained roads. The NER was quick to react and by 1872 had a line built. The year is sometime between 1956 and 1964, where we see the workhorses of the NER slowly disappearing, with the more modern BR standards and diesel locomotives taking over and making their presence felt. The traffic is still healthy, with the quarry and pipeworks likely to have enough raw materials for the next 20 years, and the increase of tourists travelling to the coast and Dunstanburgh Castle, keeping the passenger numbers above average. All track is Pico apart from the harbour, which is copper-clad sleepers and rail to create a tramway appearance. This is all operated using DCC Concepts Cobalt Point motors and fully DCC controlled via the Z21 control system using iPads, tablets and Chromebooks. The harbour buildings are scratch-built from photos of the buildings present in Crter today. I have tried for the feel of a NER branch line by using buildings from various areas of the northeast. The goods shed and water tower are the new additions, and are again scratch-built, and are hopefully in keeping with the area. All signals are custom scratch-built by John Fitness, and are operated via servos and megapoints controllers, again connected into the DCC system and operated from the Z21. Most of the figures and detailed items are from Northumbria Painting Services. The locomotives and rolling stock are mostly kit-built by me, with the exception of the Helgen and Dapol diesel locomotives. All the locomotives have DCC sound using ZIMO decoders.